Hi everyone, and welcome to the Lure Fishing Project. This is Hobie Week on the Lure Fishing Project. We're going to knock out a whole bunch of episodes, probably be a little bit out of order, but by the end of the week, that won't matter. So starting off with this one, we are round 4 with the Hobie Fishing Series in Little Swanport. This one was run and won on the 8th and 9th of April. I think it was a Tuesday and Wednesday. It's something that still I find very confusing when I'm recording, as you'll often hear me say on the first day. Anyway, this is a great little episode. What I'm going to do is I'm going to roll the intros and we're going to get straight into it. I'll tell you all about the bite periods and what have you. Here we go.
Welcome to the Lure Fishing Project, where Australia's best lure anglers share their tips and stories to help you catch more fish and have more fun on the water. Here's your host, Andrew D.
All right. So this one, like I said, was run and won in the middle of the week. And one of those things I did want to get to Tasmania this year, but it didn't quite happen that way. And I was a little bit jealous sitting at home listening to it. But anyway, let's run through the bite periods for this one. So on the Wednesday, we just had 29 in the fish activity wheel with a minor bite period at 11:59 a.m. through to 1:29 p.m. The low tide was at 7:24 at 0.36 of a metre, running up to a high just on the end of the day at 2 p.m. at 0.8 of a metre. On the Thursday, we had 17 in the fish activity wheel with a minor bite period at 12:46 through to 2:16 p.m. Low tide was at 8:12 at 0.35 and running up to a high tide at 2:59 p.m. at 0.81. Okay, so let's just run through the divisions for this one. We had 49 people in this, which is pretty great for a Tasmanian event. The Anaconda Big Bream was Tony Pettie with a beast at 1.71 kilos. The monster mover was Gareth Goodhue, all the way from Queensland, 0 on day 1 and a pretty decent bag of 2.35 on day 2. The division winners are the youth angler was Ethan Howard with a total weight of 4.42, with Ruth Beebe taking out the women's with 4.79. The Masters was David Shanahan, all the way from Victoria at 5.84. And we had a first-time competitor of Selwyn Edson, and he dropped 3 fish for 1.72. Okay, well, let's get into the angler interviews. Here we go. So first up in third place, we have an angler dropping 3 fish, just over 3 kilos at 3.18. Backing it up on the Sunday with a 2.88 kilo bag, giving him 6 fish for a total of 6.06. And third place, I have Mitch Maddison.
Thanks, mate. It's been a little while.
Yeah, mate, but you haven't done very many.
No, I had the old life choices and work and family and golf pretty much got in the way of it, but we're going to have a bit of a crack this year, I think.
Right, mate, life, family, but golf, what are you talking about, mate?
Oh, it's terrible golf, but we try most Sundays to break 80, but it just rarely happens.
Break 80, man. I used to try and break 100.
Yeah, we also bring Jack Gummy along. He's good to watch shoot 105 every now and then. He'll either shoot 80 or 108.
108. I want to play golf with Jack.
Yeah.
Whereabouts do you play?
Just don't fish against him. Generally play a little course at Camden Lakeside.
Okay.
It's a fun little track. Lots of knee-high long grass just off the fairway to ruin your day, but
yeah,
it's just another one of my retirement hobbies, like fishing.
Fair enough. Sounds good to me.
Start them early.
The only bad thing about golf and fishing is the nicest days are the same for both sports.
That's very true.
Well, there you go.
But on a windy day, I'll go to the golf course. You won't find me on the water.
All right, mate. Listen, this year you decided to head down to Tassie and have a bit of a crack.
I had a great time down there. Spent a week travelling beforehand with Chris and the family, and also dragged along one of my other mates who'd never been kayak fishing before. After a bit of travel, we headed down to Swansea there, and I took my son out all 3 days. Yeah. I took him out pre-fish, and on the 2 comp days as well, he was paddling around with me.
Oh, nice. That's awesome.
He had a great time. He caught probably a good 60 centimetre flathead on pre-fish.
Yep.
Couldn't find the bream. He was very frustrated.
Yeah, it happens.
I heard a lot of people saying, even on pre-fish, about like the quality of fish that came through, but then still produced for the next 2 days.
Yeah, right.
For not a big venue, like you don't see that up around our way like they do down there, that's for sure.
Was your son able to compete or did he just come for a fish?
He just came fishing. I think there's bringing out a bit of a rule now where if they stay within sort of 50 metres of you now, the boys can have the full experience.
Yeah.
They can't weigh in and compete yet, but they can come out, they can do the weigh-in and do the whole part. So I'm pretty sure you're going to see a lot more of my young fella and Chris's young fella, Harvey, up on the weigh station. And from what I've seen, they can weigh in some pretty good fish because on day 2, my young fella gave me a run for my money.
That would be so good, mate. Not just yourself, but anyone seeing the sons beat the dads is a pretty fun thing.
Oh, it's pretty rough when I was already placing and I had my young fella sitting within 50 metres of me all day, just pulling them in from everywhere. I didn't even have a bag yet, and the young fella probably had just over 2.2 kilos by like 10 o'clock.
Wow. That's so cool, mate. That's so cool. All right.
It's fun to watch, but it's agonising.
I'm going to say it's fun for you, way more fun for everyone else.
That's right.
Very good. All right, mate. Tell us about pre-fishing. So you did obviously got out there. How'd you go on pre-fish?
Yep.
Did you crack any patterns or work anything out?
I'd never been there, so we sort of popped out, cruised down the side and headed out towards the back. We had a look out in the deep. There wasn't really much happening in the first big opening, so we just kept pushing out the back. I pushed onto one of the western arms, the southwest arm of it, and just followed it around. Just throwing plastics and a few Twitch 55s, I think they are, Twitch 50s. Mm-hmm. Heaps of salmon out there. But started throwing a few grubs and what's the hurricane?
The sprats or?
No, they're like the wave, bit like the hybrids.
Okay, so the Sprat 85s?
Yeah, so I was throwing a bit of a longer lure and throwing the sort of, I think the 3-inch Daiwa bait junkies and that as well.
Yep.
Just across the weed beds, just in the shallows. I picked up 2 small brim and then we kept pushing around, just sort of doing the same thing, fished the deep spot, out onto another back flat. Did the same thing over there, and I think only after an hour and a half of fishing, I pulled my first 44 car.
Nice.
And I was like, okay, we'll move. Don't want to do that again. I think I moved about, I don't know, maybe a K and a half. And second cast over there, doing the same thing, pulled another one.
Right, okay.
So I was just like, okay, I need to get out of it.
Yeah, time to finish pre-fish.
Time to finish pre-fish. I literally just started paddling to the front, told my mate, another mate that I took down there with us on the trip, who'd never been kayak fishing and very new to lure fishing. He borrowed one of Chris's links, and I said, put this on, tie this on, throw it down there, and just try and twitch it across the top of the weed beds. And within 3 casts, he pulled his own sort of, I think it was a 38 4-car with like a 40 tipper. Was his first brim on a kayak and on a lure.
Wow, what a way to start.
He just hang up the boots now, he reckons. He's done.
Fair enough.
So, yeah, that was our pre-fish. It was pretty short and sharp. I think we're only out there for maybe 2.5 hours. I didn't go look at the racks. I didn't have much intention to go out there at all.
Yeah.
For the comp. But day one kind of changed that for me. So, yeah, I think we went home. I didn't change any leaders. Funny enough, I think I had leaders on from the first event of the New South Wales fishing tournaments with Grant.
Right.
I still had the same leaders on then.
Okay.
And we got back to camp after pre-fish and with the kids running around and everything happening and Chris throwing 2 years old at me all the time.
Yep.
I didn't change a leader.
Oh, right. So you're going more for the value leaders.
I literally was just going fishing. I made sure, I think I changed 1 leader on my son's rod because he got a leader knot and that was it.
Yeah. Fair enough.
But I didn't change any of my own.
Wow. Well, there you go, mate. There you go. It's the 1%ers, mate.
Yeah, just hanging on to them 3-pound line with, I don't know, 3-month-old line. Just treat it like a fish.
Just a social fish. Yep, fair enough.
Yeah.
All right. Well, mate, tell us about comp day because obviously you found a couple, so it must have been all right.
Yeah, so we found a couple and I found them early. So not a lot, but the first 3 fish I caught, 2 of them didn't get upgraded until about probably 12:30.
Right.
So
okay.
I went out, took my young fella out with me. He spent the whole day with me as well, the poor fella. So I dragged him all the way out the back of the system.
Yep.
We we spent probably, it was cold too, and the wind was howling and cold.
Sounds lovely.
But we pushed it was Tassie, all right. And then we pushed all the way out the back of the system. I dragged the young fella out there, and we're fishing the weed beds like the day before, and I had nothing.
Oh.
No brim on the end of the rod until about 8:30.
Right. Okay.
I got right up near the end of where I got the good one, and I hooked, I think it was a 37 tipper.
Nice.
Was the first fish to hit the well. And I was like, okay, cool. So I threw the live well on. We kept working our way around the side. It was no good. Then I pushed it further up, right up the back, up towards weed beds and mud flats, and up there where the wind was pushing. And I just kept throwing, I just threw plastics the whole time on day one. And yeah, I was just throwing a 1/20th into the wind as far as I could.
So upwind.
And I was throwing into the wind.
Why do you do that?
Mainly because I had the young fella there, and he doesn't have a power pole.
Sure.
And he was on a link.
Okay.
So if we were fishing downwind, the kid was gone within a minute.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, fair enough.
He'd just go flying past me at about 8 knots.
So it was just about pedaling.
Yeah. So it was just about just holding into the current. But I like to hold, so obviously where we were on the weed flats there, all the weed was bent over towards me. So it makes it a lot easier to bring the lure back towards you anyway.
Yep.
And any bait that's getting pushed around is obviously going to be getting pushed in the same direction.
Yeah, okay. So kind of lines up.
I do the same thing pretty much wherever I go, unless I can just pole down and throw as far as I can if I'm working maybe like a crank or something like that, where it doesn't really matter as much. But I wasn't snagging up on the big ribbon weed they have down there.
Yep.
So I could work the lure back towards me. And I was only fishing probably anywhere from 200 mil to 600 mil of water for pretty much all day.
Yep.
Where I got fish. So yeah, we pushed all the way down right down the back of the system. And the next fish that went in the well was a 38 tipper.
Wow.
Hit the well, went straight in the back. So I kept pushing forward into the wind, kept making my way down. And the next fish that I hooked, and this was pretty funny because on day 2 I found out how gnarly it was in where I cooked this fish.
Right.
I hooked a 42 forker.
Wow.
On 3-pound line. Put up a good fight, ran all over the flat, got it up, threw it in the well, called the young fella over, and the pair of us couldn't believe what we had in the well, sort of thing. And I was like, well, this is a pretty good day.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'll let you know what happened on that back flat on day 2, but it wasn't quite that simple.
Okay.
So
wow.
After we started sort of pushing, we sort of fished most of that back area. There was a few guys hanging around there, and there was a heap of birds hitting down probably, and like west of us, probably about 250 metres from where we were.
Yeah.
But the water was that shallow, I couldn't get there. And Jack Gammy had told me that it does get a bit deeper past that flat, and I just couldn't get there.
Yeah.
It was unfortunate because they were bombing for maybe an hour.
Yeah, right.
So that back flat must have been covered in bream and bait and all the rest of it. So we left that. We started pushing sort of back down towards like the main big hole out the back there. And I found a 38 tipper again, only because my young fellow was fishing a bit deeper than I was. So it was a lot easier for him to throw like a 1/8 in a bit deeper water.
Yep.
And he pulled a 36 forker out of the deep on day 1.
Right. Okay.
So I went over and helped him with him, took a few photos, and I looked down, like, because he didn't have a sounder or anything. I was just sort of guiding him where to sort of, all right, the drop-off's there, go sit over there. After I'd fixed him up and took the photos, I had to throw myself and pulled a 38 out of there. So it was a slight upgrade. So I had 2 38s and a 43 in there, which was a sensational bag. And it was I was about, 940, 945.
Yeah, wow.
So it all happened fast.
Yeah, yeah.
So the first 4 fish I caught, and I had a sensational bag.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So then we just junk fished our way sort of back towards the front just to find new ground for the next day if we were going to need it.
Yeah.
We tried a few spots and under a few boats and ended up working our way all the way up to the front because the wind dropped right off in the middle of the day, which wasn't forecast, but it made it hot on the water. It was only a bit weird, the weather in Tassie. Like, it would have been 19 degrees outside, but it's like a 30-degree day at home.
Yeah, right.
It's just unreal. But if you go into the shade, you're freezing cold. But if you're in the sun, it's just different down there. So Son and I were just sweating our way, pedaling around, and we got all out to the racks. So the Son had never fished racks before. So I was like, all right, we'll go have a look in there. And we were pedaling around and had a bit of a look, and the tide wasn't quite there yet. And we fished all the way up, right up the front near the mouth, across weed beds and out the front of where the racks were. Funny enough, past where Tony may have caught the biggest bag I've ever seen on day 2.
Right.
So we fished through there. We seen him there as well on our way through on day 1. And then I came across this little section. I actually seen Jeff Alfred there, and he was telling me how white the brim were. Like, he said they were like just the most silver white brim he's ever seen.
Yeah, right.
I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. So there must be something around. And the flat where I was had a little bit of weed, a few sand holes, was just outside the racks. Would have been 250, 300 mil deep.
Wow.
And the wind was howling through there. So I just put the power pole down and I threw as far as I could, just trying to, it was about, 12:30 by then. And I just threw this 1/20th as far as I could in the wind, and it probably went about 40 metres. And I didn't twitch it. I don't think I finished the third twitch, and it just loaded up and took off across the flat. So then I was trying to sit down and get the power pole up and get after it because it was running straight with the tide straight into the racks behind it.
Yeah.
I played around with that thing for about 5 minutes, and that was I think it was a 41 tip, about a 39 fork.
Yeah, wow.
Went into the bag, and then I think I caught 2 more fish while I was on that flat in the last sort of 40 minutes that were around the 38 mark. So no upgrades, but all around the same size.
Yeah, yeah. Good fish.
And then young fella was knackered, so I think we got in, 40 minutes early.
Yep.
I didn't think I was going to do much better. I was pretty happy. Like, I was only aiming just to get a bag, like something around there.
Yeah, yeah.
And I just took the young fella in and we went and relaxed, and we weighed in early and got stuck into a Boomers Creek wine, which is just terrible, I'm telling you.
It's probably not the greatest plan.
Oh, it was terrible. So then it was great. We got to do the weigh-in. It surprised me. I only thought I'd probably have around the 3 kilo mark.
Yep.
But the fish down there are so healthy because that's the biggest bag I've weighed.
Yeah. Okay.
By probably 300 grams, I reckon.
Okay. So first 3 kilo bag.
Yeah.
Did you drop any?
I did not drop a fish on day 1.
On your, like, last year's leaders, 3 pound.
Yeah, just on all 3 pound leaders. Just like, I even had frame marks, like the tail of some of the FG knots were starting to come out.
Oh, no. Okay.
And it's probably going to hurt your feelings even more because I think I changed 1 litre that night.
Right. You went all out, and you'd done that after a couple of wines.
I did. I changed, one whole litre that night, I think it was, only because I got rasped up on about halfway down my litre on the weed beds down there.
Yeah.
But that was it. That was all I did.
Wow.
And it wasn't just, I think Chris he would have put 5 or 6 beers in front of me before we even went anywhere near a wine.
Right. Wow. Just another game plan.
That was great. Young fella got a fish, so he was happy. So he actually would have been right up there in the youth division. So he was pretty chuffed with himself.
Yeah, cool.
Day 2 where it got pretty fun on the water. That's for sure.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So we've established that your setup for day 2 wasn't that much more prepared maybe than for day 1, just slightly.
Not at all. Oh, I think I did 1 litre each day.
Yeah, and you've focused more on the intake of alcohol and family duties.
Well, it's on, as much as it's a fishing competition, we're on holidays. That's all.
Very good.
That's with a 2-year-old daughter running around who's just absolutely full of energy. That was our main focus.
Yep.
She's probably spent just as much time in Chris's cabin with Tamika than probably in ours.
Yeah.
So that was actually great. We had like a built-in babysitter.
How good is that?
She spent half the weigh-in times in the weigh-in tent just about sitting on Tamika's lap.
Oh, well, there you go. Yeah, well, I mean, one of the things I like about this story is obviously we're trying to win, we're trying to do this, but sometimes just taking the more relaxed approach does get a result.
It really was. I think it had something to do with it. Like, there was no pressure. I went fishing with my young fella. Fair enough, I dragged him from one end of the system to the other, but we just had fun.
Yeah.
I caught good fish and it just sort of worked out. But it was really nice to do it because that's the first time I've actually had my family there in 8 or 9 years of doing these now.
Yeah, right.
So that was pretty cool for me.
What's your young fella's name?
Cohen.
Cohen. All right.
Yeah.
Big shout out to Cohen for
he's
pedaling all the way around the place, following you, giving you some moral support.
He's going to be quite a pest, I think, for the rest of the bream fishermen in a few years. That's for sure, because he loves it.
So good.
Well, as much as he learns from me, I guess he'll be able to. He goes fishing with Grant as well with the New South Wales fishing tournaments and all the rest of it. So, like, he's pressing me hard to get a boat as well, undoubtedly. But he's quite good at it, so it'll be interesting. Halves might give him a run for his money, though. He's good too.
Yeah, I know it'll be very, very good. All right, let's get into day 2, mate. Tell us how it started. How'd you go about getting a couple?
So more or less same thing. Day 2, we pressed out the back, dragged a young fella out there. We hit I think it would have been, that's the most southwest sort of corner of the place. Joey went out there too, that I found out. I didn't find out till later because I'd already moved on by the time he got there both days. But we just pushed up into these big weed flats in there. There's good ribbon weed. It ranges from 1.5 meters to sort of, I don't know, like 600 deep, and then right up into the back flats, which just goes into nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So the young fella, first up, caught a 38 tipper within 20 minutes of us getting there.
Nice.
And then he got railed and then because we were only throwing 3 pound, he lost the first lure. So he came down. So then I sorted his rod out and got him back on the water. And he got his second fish.
Yeah.
I hadn't even got one by now. So then I fixed up that rod, and then Halves came down in there with me as well. Chris's young fella, and we're sort of fishing with all 3 of us down the back corner. And then I finally hooked a fish, and it was a 40 tipper.
Okay, good start.
So it was a great start. So I was like, okay, we can build from this.
Yeah, you're still on plastics. You're still on the Spray 85s.
Yeah, throwing the hybrids and just anything with a curly tail. Really, Did it all weekend. I just threw hidden weight 120s.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't matter what the depth was or what it was. They were just. I think I had more of them in my box than anything else, so I just kept throwing those. Light enough to sink down, and if you wanted a slower sink, I'd just throw a bait junkie on because they sink a little bit slower. And then if I wanted the faster drop, sort of the hybrids would actually drop a bit faster.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd just switch through the two. So I was doing that over the beds, and then it was doing pretty well. It went quiet for a little bit, so we kept pushing up out of the bay. There was a few of the locals fishing there. Ruth was out the back too. I think she got one second cast while we were out there.
Okay.
Which was cool to see. I hadn't even quite got there yet because I was dragging the kids along. And second cast, I could hear Booth. Oh, that was good. Oh, there's another one. It was pretty cool. So yeah, we pushed through there and pushed out to the back flat where I got the good one the day before.
Right.
We worked our way, and we were ploughing into the wind to get out there. We pushed right out there. I got within sort of 50 meters where I got the good fish, and I was like, all right, well, because the wind had switched from the day before, so I decided to come around the flat the other way and fish back into the wind against it.
Sure.
My son came in behind me. Mind you, we're in 400 mil of water. He's got a 1/8 on. Before I even get a cast in, he chucks out and then smacks another 38 tipper.
Right, so he's got the full bag now.
He's got a full bag, and I've got 8 fish.
Right.
He's done a good bag.
Right. Is he letting you know about it?
He looked at me, he's like, sorry, Dad. I was like, you stole my fish. I was like, no good. Like, you've ruined it. And he's like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm like, I'm only kidding. Like, it was as fun as it is. Like, if it was Jack, Gammy, or someone like one of the boys, I probably would have cracked it. But when it's your own kin, you can't really do much of it.
No, just be happy about it.
So at this point, he's smashing me. He's probably got 2.5 kilos, and I had a 140 tipper. So we had a bit of a giggle. He goes, I'll go in the deep. I'll leave you alone. Like, oh, thanks, mate. So I was fishing from there. I hooked a fish. I think it was only a 36 tipper, but got it in. So I was happy. I hooked another fish, and this was right where I was, like exactly on the mark. And I hooked another good fish, and I got absolutely railed. There was nothing I could do about it. There was it's only a mud flat, and there's lots of timber everywhere, but there's lots of timber I didn't know because the water level was a little bit lower on day 2, how much timber was actually in there. And I got railed 3 times on that flat, and there was nothing I could do about it.
Ouch.
Yeah, and the black brim down there don't fight the same as, say, Malakuta or something like that. They hit it like a freight train and run.
Yeah.
They don't just sit there shaking their heads like you get at Malakuta or Bem or something like that. They hit it and bail like they're trying to get out of a school. Like, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, right.
So that happened, and I was like, I had my head down a little bit, and I was like, okay, I got to work hard here. It was only probably 9:30, so I had 2 fish at 9:30, so it's not that bad.
Yeah.
Kept pushing along that flat, and then got right near the drop-off where the young fella was fishing ahead of me, and he hooked another one in there. There's about a 35, and then I sort of came up near him, and I pulled I think it was only another 36 tipper.
Still good.
I was like, all right, we've got a bag. We can build from this. I got one good one in there. We can build. And then we just kept pushing along. We pushed near back where I was on pre-fish on the first day. We hooked the second good one. Joel was in there. I just pipped Joel on the leaderboard too. I think it was like 80 grams or 60 grams or something. So it's always good to get crozzer. But
Absolutely.
we're in his crozzer. And I was having a chat with him while we're just having a fish sort of thing, doing the same sort of thing. And the young fella was just fishing the deeper channel just behind us, and he clunked another 37 out there. So I had to paddle back over there and fix him up and get the photos for him, and like he was just having a great day. And then I think he got 2 wind knots. He retired 2 rods.
Yep.
After that, and then I was like, all right, mate, we're going to have to make a move. I'm struggling. We're going to go out the front again because the tide was getting up at this point. It was about 11 o'clock, and I was like, we're going to punch it to the front. So I skull dragged the young fella all the way up to the front. We got near the start line, and he just goes, I've had enough.
You're right.
And I was like, that's fair. I was like, we just punched into the wind and the current for probably 3 Ks or maybe closer to 4.
Yeah, okay.
So he just went, I'm going in. I've had enough. I was like, all right, mate. So I dropped him off the start line and just beelined it through the racks. I got out to the flat where I was at the end of day 1. There was no one there. There was guys all around it, but no one was sort of in that area. And I just pushed in and just started just fishing it like a grid. There was probably 300 mil of water on it.
Yeah.
And just fish it like just across, like into the current, fish the first section of it across the first racks, and then move forward sort of that cast length, and just kept coming across. And it's about the size of maybe 2 soccer pitches.
Mm-hmm.
And I moved up a little bit more, and I hooked a 38 tipper. So it's a little slight upgrade.
Yep.
And then about 20 minutes later, I got another 38. So that graded the other fish. And then I worked my way up, and I caught probably 5 more fish before I just got to the solid sand part of the flat, out of the weed patches and that. And then there was a heap of movement on the other side. So I paddled across to the other side of the system to see what that was. It was just salmon.
Okay.
It's just no good.
No.
My sounder died, and I was like, I'll just go back there for the last sort of half an hour or whatever I had. So I paddled back to where I got the good fish just prior. I wasn't really looking at the clock at the time, and I cast, and I caught a 39 tipper. I cast again, I caught a 37. I cast again, and I got a 38. It was slightly fatter, so I upgraded the other 38 that was in there.
Yep. And
then I cast, and I didn't catch anything, and the last cast I got was another 39.
Wow.
Which was another upgrade. And I looked at the clock, and I think I had about 13 minutes left.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, shit.
Time to go.
And I just cut and run down, and I think I got back with a couple of minutes to spare.
Nice.
But it, like, soon as the flat just gets that little, like, enough water on it, they just came from everywhere.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Like, I don't know where they were hiding because no one else was catching them anywhere. But in the last half an hour, they were just like big fish all over it.
Wow. Wow.
So I finished really strong, which was good, but I knew I didn't have 3 kilos.
Yeah.
And I was a bit worried, and I sort of got back in and talked to a few of the boys, and I was like, oh, maybe I'll hang on. I just weighed in early because I could start packing up and play with my daughter and sort of keep everyone sort of occupied while the rest of the weighing was happening. And I seen a big smile on Tony's face, and he gave me a bit of a glimpse, and that was some of the biggest fish. Like, he had 2 horses in there and a Clydesdale. Like,
Yeah, right.
it's the only way to put it into proportion. The fish that he pulled, when he tells you about it, it doesn't make sense how big it was.
Yeah, right. Crazy.
Yeah, and it had been a while since he'd pulled a win too, so it's to see him pull that bag was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And he was only maybe 150 metres on the other side of a set of racks where I was.
Yeah, wow.
I was pretty chuffed. I hung on to third, and I got to weigh in with my daughter. My young fella was there, and my wife. It was great.
Yeah.
It was really good.
Yeah, that sounds like a couple of good days fishing for both you and the family.
Yeah.
I reckon throughout the interview, we covered the fishing pretty well. Let's move on. Mate, tell us, what did you get to take home for third place?
Third place, got a little goodie bag, a few lures and plastics and stuff like that. I think the son stole the atomic hat within 3 seconds of me getting the goodie bag in my hands. I got a nice bottle of Pinot from Boomers Creek and 19.
Yeah.
We still haven't cracked it yet. My wife's probably wondering when I'm coming inside, and we'll probably do that this afternoon since we're both still on holidays.
Fair enough.
A nice trophy to go into my foyer area downstairs that I think it was the first thing I got out of the car.
Okay.
So when you walk into my front door and you look to your right, I got all my bridesmaid trophies because there's not a first place up there yet.
Mate, soon, mate. You're well on the way. Maybe if you tie new leaders.
Matt, well, the leaders weren't the issue. I didn't have a leader not go, so I might just keep this happening.
Fair enough.
Or I'll have to keep dragging the family along. Maybe they're the good luck.
All right, mate. Last thing before we shoot off, is there anyone you want to give a shout out to or say thank you to?
I've been getting a lot of my gear now between Adam. Day 2, I did switch bait a lot with Little Baby Vibe and Cockle. So, yes, Adam for them. He won't put the hooks on them for me anymore, though, which is no good.
Why not?
Oh, he just doesn't want to do it. It's no good.
We'll have
I
a
don't
word
blame
with
him. Yeah. I've had plenty of words with him. He still won't do it. So Adam always get my gear there. And then Zeus Tackle out at Camden here where I live.
Yep.
Back in a little shop. I stop in there. You get stuck for an hour like usual in any decent fish or tucking shop. And I've been getting a lot of gear out of him too. So it was really good to have a local guy who loves his brim fishing. And I think he did really well again on the weekend, which was cool. And then obviously my wife letting me chase the tournaments again.
Yes.
Even though I think we went to 15 wineries to keep her happy, but it worked.
15. 15's a good number.
At least. 15, I cannot wait to go back. But no, it's been good. And then obviously Chris made it all happen. So he organised most of our trip. And if you're ever going to go travelling, just go travelling with that fella because it's always a good time.
All right, mate. Well, look, great to have you back on the show again. Congratulations. And yeah, hopefully we'll see you the next couple of rounds.
Too easy, mate. I'll see you, Foster.
Thanks, mate. All right. So finally, coming in first place, we have an angler dropping his 3 fish on the first day for 2.90. Backing it up on day 2 with a huge bag, starting with a 4 at 4.13 kilos, giving him a total of 7.03. And first place, I have Tony Batman Pettie. Welcome back to the show, mate.
Yeah, thanks, Andrew. Thanks for having me back. It's been a while, and it's good to talk to you again.
Mate, there's a lot of things going on there, mate. A bag with a 4 in the start and the total weight of a 7 in the start. So...
yeah, it's epic. It blew my mind when it happened as well. Just, on day 2 when I got that last fish and I knew I had over 4 kilos, it was very special.
All right. And for those who, I'm just going to go through the Batman thing. So, because some people, if they haven't listened to a lot of shows, they won't know. So yourself and Simon Morley are both sponsored anglers through Hurricane. And going back a few years, I think Naughty used to call you Batman and Robin. And the deal is whoever ranks highest gets to be Batman.
Yeah, that's correct. Peter Nord called us the dynamic duo, and then he sort of said, well, who's Batman and who's Robin? And then it sort of came a little side bet between Simon and myself that in the comps we fished together, whoever finishes highest is Batman until the next event.
And as it stands right now, you are still Batman.
I'm still Batman.
All right, mate. Let's get into pre-fish day for this one. What'd you get up to?
On the pre-fish day, I went out with Peter Nord. We decided that we weren't going to launch at the event site because they had a bit of a curfew. You couldn't get in there until at least 7 o'clock. So we decided we'd hit the main boat ramp just down from the launch site at about 6:30, just to get on the water a little earlier than everyone else.
Yep.
I had a few spots that I wanted to hit before I went over there. So we sort of put into the boat ramp, then you'd head upstream towards the start line. There's some rock walls. So I fished along the rock walls there. I'd got 1-2 little fish there on pre-fish, and then went further up towards the start line. There's a little bit of an island there, and it's got a deep hole behind it. And I saw a heap of digs on the bottom around about 2.5-3 metres. So I had to play there and pulled another fish out of there. So I had a couple of spots lined up. And then the main spot I wanted to fish was down, I suppose, on the southern side of the arena, down near the entrance out where the last of the oyster racks are. And I sort of went down there and fished it. It was pretty much on the bottom of the tide around about 8 o'clock. I got a 1.1 kilo fish down there during the pre-fish. So I decided to leave there, and I sort of just wandered around through the oyster racks just looking for fish, and I hooked one and I lost it in the racks. I wasn't quite set up correctly for it, and it just took me around a couple of poles and busted me off. And then I just went to a few other spots upstream a bit that I'd sort of wanted to fish, and I'd found a few fish here and there, but not like I had down the front where I wanted to. So then once the tide had changed and started running out, I got back down there about 1 o'clock, I suppose it was, in the afternoon. And same thing, I kind of went down to the area where I'd got the first one in the morning and managed to get another one that was about 1.15 kilos.
Okay.
And then I thought, that's all right. And then I sort of fished for another probably 10 minutes. I got another one. I thought, I better get out of here. So as I was leaving, I had another cast and got a third one there. I thought, oh, well, there's fish here, so this will be a good start. And I'd only seen 2 or 3 other guys go through that whole area. It sort of seemed like everybody was way up the back of the system on the pre-fish day.
And what were you throwing? Are you throwing plastics or hard bodies, or what was getting the result?
I had a bit of a mixture. I was trying hard bodies on the shallower, weedy and rocky kind of edge, but with the tide being down so low, I said to someone, I've got to try and relearn this place, because I've only ever fished it when it's been like a high tide and a full run out tide. This one, it was like pretty much most of the bottom of the run out tide, then start of the flooding tide. So I had to try and work it all out again. So all the rocky edges that we used to fish were all exposed.
Right.
So I had to go and do a few things slightly different. So I tried hard bodies, shallow diving hard bodies, and some deeper ones as well. And I didn't get a fish on a hard body on pre-fish. I pretty much stuck to plastics and got them on the plastics.
All right. Let's roll into comp day, mate. So you ended up with a 2.9 kilo bag. Tell us how you went about getting that.
All right. So once I left the start, I'd kind of found a new way to get to my spot. So I found some deeper channels where the oyster boats had been going through. So you had all the channels where the props had been going through. So I followed some of those and got to my spot, I don't know, probably in about 15 minutes, and kind of surprised that no one came with me. I was the only one there on Saturday. Pretty much I'd say for probably about the first 4 or 5 hours, I was the only one fishing that area.
Yeah.
I was throwing the Hurricane Sprat 75 in Machete on a 1/24th for a while, and I picked up my first fish on that. And then I got a second one on the same lure. These are all on a 1/24th jighead. And then the wind had picked up a little bit, so I decided that I'd go to a 1/16th, and I changed the colour of my Sprat. So I changed it to a iceberg in the 75.
Okay. Why'd you go to iceberg?
It was just a change of colour. I just kind of felt like the Machete wasn't quite working enough, and the iceberg's kind of got a bit of a UV belly with a bit of a darker green top on it. So I kind of blended in a little bit with the watercolour and the weed there as well. That's kind of why I went and tried that one. And I put it onto a 1/16th jighead because the wind picked up a bit. And I found that kind of got me down onto the bottom and held me on the bottom a bit better.
Yeah.
So I picked up a couple of smaller fish. So I got a bag probably in the first 2 hours. So it was pretty much by the time the tide had dropped out, I'd got a bag. And I think I would have had fish around, I think I had like a 105 and a 95 and a 90. I think that's what I ended up with at the end of the day, but I didn't have all of those by about 9 o'clock. So I left, I went and fished the racks, and I went and fished a couple of other spots that I'd done before and couldn't get fish. And then I dropped one in the racks again, it busted me off. And then I decided I'd go down and fish the last 2 hours of the run-in tide down there. And same thing, I just sort of went machete on a 1/24th, and I had iceberg on a 1/16th, and I could throw it out. I could let it hit the bottom. And once it felt it hit the bottom, they were just short little hops because the water was very clear and I could see what the lure was doing on the bottom. You'd see it was hitting the bottom and it was kind of getting dragged along a little bit by the current, but as soon as you lifted it up a little bit, it'd go a little bit further. So you'd sort of just small little hops, just let it kind of just bounce across the bottom with little hops, and the tide was also doing it. And I was just picking up fish doing that.
Right.
And the area I was fishing it was a bit of a channel. So you had the racks, you had a weed edge, and then from the weed edge it'd drop out to about 1.5 meters probably constantly. But then you had little pockets where it'd go to 1.6 or 1.7, come back up to 1.5, or they'd go to 1.9. And then you had kind of like a shelly, oysterly kind of bottom, and then you'd have sort of rocky patches and weedy patches as well. So it'd sort of alternate between the weedy patches and the rocks and the shelly bottom, and just picked them up here. And I think from memory I had 8 or 9 legals, and I dropped two reasonable fish. I didn't see them, but they were very weighty and were going pretty strong. So probably 11 bites, and I got, say, 9 fish for the day.
Okay.
I was confident that I was going to get some good fish in there, but day one didn't really pan out as well as I wanted, but I was still happy with 2.9. I was equal 8th.
Yeah.
And only 330 grams or 380 grams off the lead. So it wasn't that far behind.
No, that's right. I find it interesting that pre-fish day your bag would have been, well, reasonably quite a bit bigger.
Yeah, I reckon I would have had maybe just on 3 kilos.
Okay.
On pre-fish.
Yep.
And then, day one it was 2.9. So it was sort of constant.
Okay.
But, yeah, I always knew there was going to be bigger fish in there somewhere.
All right. Okay, so then overnight you're sitting in 8th place. So still in touch. What are you thinking? Like, what's your game plan to before you got out in the water?
Well, the game plan was pretty much that I was thought, righto, the tide was low at 8 o'clock on pre-fish. It was low o'clock, 9 o'clock low at day one. So day two is 10 o'clock. So that's going to give me 3 hours of the run-out tide. So I thought I can go there, I can focus for those last 3 hours of the run-out tide and fish it really hard and try and get the job done early. Get my fish early, then I won't have to worry about it. So then I thought once the low tide comes at 10 o'clock, I'll disappear for a couple of hours. I'll go do some other spots, and then I'd come back and I'll fish the last 2 hours of the run-in tide there. Well, the last 2 hours of comp time, which was a run-in tide. So I pretty much did the same thing. Once we started, went straight to where I was fishing, and again I was pretty much the only one there again for maybe the first half hour to an hour.
Yeah,
and then it was all right. Wade Walker had been fishing inside the racks the previous day and that morning as well, and he came into the channel, and that was fine. He'd been in the area, so I'd had no issues with him. Then a couple of other guys come snooping around and fished there for an hour or two, but they just didn't manage to get the bites, and so I think they ended up just leaving.
Yeah, right, which is making you happy.
Which it was. Well, I gave the guy space. There was enough room for quite a few guys there, but I just stayed at my end and they stayed up the other end, and you'd go for an hour or so without a touch, and then all of a sudden you get a little bite window here and there. You'd pick up maybe a couple of little salmon or a flathead or a trevally or a smaller brim, and then go quiet again. So it was just a matter of trying to wade through the fish.
So did you stay with the sprats? That was still the plan?
Oh, it was. So on the second day, the wind was in the morning was going, I suppose, westerly. So it was running out with the tide. So it was actually flowing a little bit harder. So I'd started off with the 16th again with the Iceberg Sprat 75. And I was struggling to get in position to be able to fish it correctly. So I was messing around a little bit for the first 10 minutes, just trying to get things sorted. And then once I got myself to be able to position it, to be able to throw, sideways with the wind and let the tide, so you'd sort of throw sideways in sort of against the wind and hit the tide, then you'd sort of just float down with the tide. And then I reckon probably within 10, 15 minutes of getting there, I got my first fish, which was, on my scales, it was 1.28 kilos.
Nice.
So that was a good start. I just thought, yep, they're here, we're on. So I did that, and by the time I got it in and spiked down and hook it off and weighed it and put in the live well, I sort of threw out again, and I picked up a 30-centimetre fish. I'm thinking, well, at least it's legal. We'll put it in the live well. That's a second, which was great. And then I kind of moved back up, casting into the wind, and then sort of bringing it back with the tide. You couldn't throw it as far, but it was still working. And I picked up my third fish, which was, I think it was 860 grams.
Okay.
And that was by 7:45. So the first half hour of fishing, I got a bag. So that was a bit of a relief.
Yes.
So that was just a matter of knuckling down and going hard and just trying to get a few more better fish. So that was like 7:45. I don't reckon I got another fish until about 9 o'clock. So, and I kind of changed again. So I went from a 1/16th, I changed to a 1/12th jighead, and I put on the Sprat 75 in Cleaver, which is this kind of a darker green colour.
Yeah.
And I was like, first cast with that, I hooked up and landed a 1.15.
Right. Okay.
So that kind of threw out the 30-centimetre fish that I had. And I'm going, all right, so that's reasonable. You got a 1.28, you got a 1.15, and I've got a 0.86. I'm going, well, that's still all right, but I'd just love to get another one that's over a kilo, So you come back with 3 kilos like a goal, and just thinking this would be great. So I kind of fished there to about 10:30, and I think I'd picked up maybe 2 others that were like 850. They just weren't quite big enough for upgrades.
Yep.
So I left there and went over to the boat ramp near the entrance there, and I was messing around over there, and I got another fish over there, which I thought was going to be an upgrade, but it wasn't. It was another 850. So I'm thinking, oh, God damn, I just can't get rid of these 850s.
Yes. It's a terrible problem.
And then I thought, it's a horrible problem to have, throwing back 850s.
That's it.
But I decided I'd get back there at 12 o'clock. So I kind of fished my way back over the sand flats and the shallow weed beds and did no good there except for a couple of little salmon. And then I thought, let's go back in there and do it properly. So I reckon I got there at 12, and it would have been 12:30, 12:45. It starts to be a little bit more action happening. Like I got a little salmon, I got a big trevally, I got a flathead, I got a small brim, and then I had another 850. I sort of spiked down and dealt with that, and I just can't get it over these 850s. And then, had a deep breath and a bite to eat and a little bit of a drink and just said, compose yourself, relax, just get into it. So I've turned around and very next cast, clunked, and this fish took screaming off towards the weed beds and the oyster racks, and bait fish are just jumping out of its way, and had this epic battle. And you'd sort of get it out of the weed, he'd come back towards the kayak, and he'd go back into the weed probably 3 times. And then at this stage, Peter Nord was there with me as well, and he saw it come up and he's gone, holy hell. He goes, that's a good fish, you need to get this. So, eventually got it in and was super happy, and so I looked at it and I've gone, that's probably 1.13, maybe 1.4.
Yeah.
And then put it on the scales and it went 1.72 on mine. I just thought, unbelievable.
Yep.
Yep.
And
you're doing the maths in your head with what you've got. So you go 128, 172, there's 3 kilos, 115, that's 4.15. You're just going, oh God, this is probably winning bag. You go, and if you get beaten, well, someone else has had a really good day too.
That's right.
And so I just thought I'll try and be greedy. I hung around there for probably another, because this is like 1:15.
Yep.
So by about 1:15, I thought, I'll get out of here. There's not much more I can do with that. So I just took my time. I didn't want to be late, so I just took my time and just slowly cruised back and took in the sights, and was just super happy as I was heading back.
Well, I was going to say with a 1.7 or 7 plus, that's pretty amazing. Yeah. So that one, am I right in saying that came on a 1/12 in Cleaver?
So it was 1/12 jighead in Cleaver. The wind was sort of behind me, and I was throwing up into the tide, so I could throw it quite a way. It's gone down. It's probably like it must have thrown it on its head, because it was like it's gone down, it's hit the bottom, and it's just gone clunk, and just loaded up, and it was an epic battle.
Yeah, that is so good. Like sometimes it's so hard to catch, and then you basically throw it out, it hits the bottom, you do a hop or whatever you do, and you're on. So it's just about timing and placement,
and it probably happens to everybody every session, but like on day one, I dropped 2 good fish. Like they were really weighty and going really hard, and I dropped those. And then even on the second day, I dropped one. Same thing, like they're going really hard and taking me towards the weed and just trying to stop them. I've just lost one, and then the other one just broke me off. So I'd lost 2 good fish each day. I'm just going, I wonder if that's going to cost me, but in the end, it didn't really matter.
Well, that's right.
Yeah, they're just your hard luck stories. Everyone got them. Everyone has them. So, you just sort of can't dwell on what could have been. It's just a matter of let's get over it and catch the next one.
Yeah. And did you find in interviewing the other guys, it feels like it was very tide dependent? Like the tide had to get to a certain level before you really got them. Is that kind of accurate?
Yeah, I'd say so. As I sort of said, like I sort of focused on the last part of the run out tide where I was. So as long as I had flow and good flow, the fish were about. So I do remember there on pre-fish day that when the tide stopped at about 8 o'clock, I couldn't really see fish on the bottom. And then once it sort of stopped and the tide was just changing a little bit, I stood up in the kayak just to have a look around, and then the amount of fish that you could actually see, which were just nosing into the current in the clear water, was just crazy.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
One thing I was curious about is what sort of leaders were you running?
So I was running just 5 pound leaders.
Right. Okay. So that's a 1.7 fish on a 5 pound leader.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're brave, but you got to get the bite. All right.
Well, that's it. I'm pretty confident in its ability to hold big fish, so I wasn't too worried about it.
Yeah. All right, mate. So you make your way back to the weigh-in. You've got a cracking bag. Tell us about the weigh-in experience and watching those scales tick over.
I suppose I just thought, well, I'm just going to have to weigh in last just to see what happens. Joey had 3.2 on day one and then ended up with, 3.33. So he had 6.55, which is a pretty big bag, and it was going to be hard to beat. But then, like, they're all weighed in, and I saw the score there. I'm just thinking, I was confident, knowing that I needed, I was only going to need 3.4 or something to take the win, and I knew I had 4 kilos, so it's just great, just waiting in line and then just getting the fish out and taking them up to the bump tub. And then Chris sort of said, there's whispers that you've got a good bag, I'm going, we'll just wait and see what the scales tell us how good it is.
Yeah.
Just to go up there and drop 413, it's unbelievable.
It is.
I think my best ever bag prior to that would have been maybe I think I've got 3-4 at Kiffy Lakes when we were there.
Yeah, right.
And I've had 3 2s and 3 3s and 3 4s probably my best, but 4 kilos insane.
Yeah, it is. And so is 7. Like it's I think it's a better win if you got 7 rather than 6.99.
Yeah.
So yeah. Absolutely amazing. All right. Tell us, mate, what did you get to take home for this one?
So for this one, we got a limited edition bottle of, I think it was 2017 Pinot from Boomer Creek Wineries. So they're very nice there. Ended up with a few packets of bait junkies. I got some atomic lures, vouchers, hurricane sprats, and 85s and 75s. I got, what else I got? I got a towel and hats and a few other bits and pieces.
Yep.
I think it was an atomic one.
An atomic one. Okay. Yeah, cool.
Got a hurricane jumper, which was good because I lost my other one, so just a replacement. Yeah. And then first place was $1,450 or something like that.
Yeah, $1,435, mate. So
yeah, $1,435.
Pretty great, I reckon.
Yeah, and then top that off, you got the Big Bream as well.
Oh, that's right. And is that the Anaconda vouchers?
The $250 worth of Anaconda vouchers, yes.
And that 1.71, is that the biggest bream you weighed in a comp?
In comp it is, yes.
Yeah.
The 171 is the biggest one I've done in comps. I've had a few larger ones out, social fishing and stuff like that, but for comps, yeah, well and truly the biggest one I've ever got.
Yeah, so good. All right, mate, last thing before... Yes.
Yep. I was just going to say, I was chatting to a couple of other guys. I'd sort of been out in the shed packing up all my stuff before I was going to Tassie, and I've got a lot of those plaques sitting up on the wall, 1st to 10th position and Big Bream sort of plaque sitting up there as well. I reckon it's been probably 3 or 4 years since I've won one of those things.
Yeah.
So it was just nice to actually see that you can still catch big fish here and there.
Absolutely. And take it, yeah, that big fish, take out the win. It's pretty cool.
It is.
All right, mate. Last thing, mate, is there anyone you want to give a shout out to or say thank you to?
Yeah, as always, you'd like to give a shout out to the Hurricane family, Peter and Susie. They've always been really good and supported me well for the last 10 years. Without their support, I don't know if I'd be able to do what I've done in the last few years. I'd also like to thank Greg Rook at Rooworks for sort of helping me out there with his new case bike. I've been able to sort of help him develop that and give him feedback on those things. It's been awesome that I can anchor down in 8 foot of water without moving. It's great.
Wow. Oh, very good, mate. All right. Well, mate, look, congratulations on what is a pretty awesome win. 7 kilos, very hard to beat. And, yeah, good luck for the rest of the season.
No worries. Thank you very much, Andrew.
Thanks, mate. All right. So that's it for part 1 of Hobie Week. The stage 1 of the Tasmania tour for the Hobies for 2026. Tomorrow morning, we will have part 2, which was supposed to be the Swan, ended up on the Scamander. How good is that? It's actually a really good episode. I hope you enjoy that one. A bit of a leveling thing to change the venue like a day before the event, obviously due to weather conditions, but I think it really leveled out the field down there. If you're looking for a little bit more, definitely jump over to the collective. As we move forward, we're going to put a whole bunch of new content in there, and apart from all the existing content that the public can't get to. So if you're looking for a bit more, jump over there. If you just want to listen, then the Vault is for you. It's a bit of a cheaper way to access the platform. All right, I hope you enjoyed that. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll talk to you tomorrow on the Bream Fishing Project.
Thanks for listening to the Lure Fishing Project. For extra episodes, the Big Bream Series and more, join us at the Lure Fishing Project Collective. We'll catch you next time.